As we're looking through different aspects of enhancing our English communication, one area that we really want to focus on is verb choices. Verbs are incredibly challenging because when we start our journey learning English, we have all of these rules to guide us. But at the higher, more advanced levels, a lot of these rules don't consistently apply, or there's exceptions. And we start to get into this world of something called collocations. And collocations are when we have two or more words that commonly occur together. A very good example of this is verbs that go with certain nouns. And what's tricky about this is it's about recognizing the noun that commonly goes with the verb and less about applying a rule to the situation. So in terms of familiarity with these verbs and nouns, we're going to do some practice here. So let's go through these each in turn. Number one, something a hard time managing multiple deadlines. First thing to note is the words coming after the blank there typically determine what verb is appropriate. So we have those four options, A, B, C, or D. Can you recognize which one best fits with a hard time? Correct answer there is C. She has a hard time managing multiple deadlines. So whether this is a hard time, a difficult time, a challenging time, an easy time, it doesn't really matter the adjective that's used before the noun time. What's important is has something time typically goes together in this context here. Let's look at number two. Something in effort to improve his email communication skills. We have these four options, A, B, C, or D. Correct answer here is A. He made an effort to improve his email communication skills. Now, something that's really important here is you might have learned rules for make and do. And those commonly do apply to basic situations. But for example, in effort, it's not a clear rule. So in this case, we have to just recognize that effort commonly goes with made. Make an effort to do something. Next up, we have number three. You need to something responsibility for completing your tasks on time. What do you think? A, B, C, or D based on that following word, responsibility? Correct answer for number three is B. You need to take responsibility for something. That's the usual structure. So take responsibility, preposition for, and then something. And in this case, completing your tasks on time. So you might say, I need to take responsibility for cleaning my house. Notice the same structure is in place with the verb, the noun, the preposition, and then the rest of the phrase. Next up, we have number four, the marketing team something thorough research before launching the new campaign. A, B, C, or D. What do we have here? Correct answer here is did. So this one is difficult to remember. Did research. That is not easy in this case. So a lot of the time the confusion with make and do comes from the fact we think if we create something it's make, and if we do the action it's did. This really doesn't apply at this higher level here. We have these certain words that go with did and certain words that go with make. And notice here we have this word before research, so thorough research, this adjective, and it doesn't change the verb that's used. We still have did as our answer here. All right, let's go down here. So number five, they are something progress on the client presentation for next week. A, B, C, or D here? Correct answer is B, making progress. And that's tricky because Again, this idea of the action with do might make you think it's that, although that's not one of the options here. But having progress, maybe logically that could make sense, but the probability, based on collocations, making most of the time goes with progress. That is the word to choose. And that brings up a good point of sometimes it's not about, what else could make sense. It's about, grammatically speaking, what is the word that most commonly occurs with this noun? And that's the one that should be used if you want to sound like you have a good grasp of English grammar and are able to, master those finer details. Let's look at number 6. We need to something better use of the resources available to us. Keyword here, better use. Correct answer here is C. We need to make better use. So just like we saw before, whether this is use, like better use, fuller use, whether this is less use, it doesn't really matter what word comes before. It's the fact that the phrase to make use of something, that is the structure that is commonly used here. All right, continuing on to number 7, the IT department is working to something a solution to the connectivity issue. Correct answer here is A, find a solution to the connectivity issue. And what's interesting here is often with find, you can substitute it for searching for, looking for, designing, creating. With a solution in this case, usually making a solution doesn't really make sense. It's generating or creating. Find is the most appropriate verb choice here. Number 8, the CEO's decision will something a significant impact on the company's growth. What do we think? A, B, C, or D? Correct answer is have. So A there. The CEO's decision will have a significant impact. Same thing, the modifier word doesn't influence the verb choice. So it can be have a big impact, small impact, great, insignificant impact. Any of those adjectives are fine. We still use have. And notice here, I've been pointing this out with some of the examples, the preposition stays consistent. So have an impact on something. Just like we saw up here, working to find a solution to something. So pay attention not only to those verbs and nouns, but the following, often the preposition remains consistent. And finally here, the manager something action to resolve the conflict between team members, A, B, C, or D. Correct answer here is D, to take action. And specifically, we have this as a pretty active verb. So to take action against someone or take action to do something. You might hear it used in terms of taking legal action. That's also common. Let me just check my highlighter tool here for a second. But the point being there, again, action goes with the verb to take. So that's just nine examples there of commonly confused. Can I do this? Yes, looks like I can. Great. 9 examples of commonly confused verbs and nouns. And just to emphasize that there's not really a rule for this. It's common occurrence of these words, seeing enough examples of it in use to start to get that familiarity with this verb goes with that noun in that context. So hopefully that helps. We will have a part 2 for more practice. So let me know in the comments below which of these you find the most challenging to remember to use in real life conversations. And make sure to subscribe for that part 2 with some more questions like this.